world premiere of the all-new generation of the Mercedes GLA. The new generation right here, and everything you need to know in exterior, interior, technology, and the difference also, both petrol and the fully electric version. And you might have thought about, wait a minute, CLA is interesting, and also from technology and so on, and the GLB as well, but that's maybe too large for you. Well, then there it is, the GLA, so to speak, the smaller brother of the GLB, but also the SUV brother of the CLA, all on the same platform. And here now with this compact SUV, is it maybe even a compact hatch? We'll find out. I'm Thomas, this is Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the all-new GLA, starting with the petrol version or mild hybrid petrol version. You can see this has an open front grille. I'll soon show you the difference in the EV version. But a pretty cool look here, horizontal design, and then the small stars, this mint green color. And this one, of course, does not have a frunk. Soon more to the engine spec and so on. Interesting is that we have here also the star design in the headlamps. Optionally, you can also get the matrix LED. And you also have the illuminated grille here with the petrol version, but that's the outline that is then illuminated. The length is now at 4 meters 57 or 180 inches. That's 14 centimeters or 6 inches longer than the previous generation. Also have some more wheelbase, that you have more space in the rear and so on. And you have this SUV design still, although the roofline is a little bit lower. So maybe something between SUV and compact hatch, so to speak. 18 to 20 inch wheels. These are the largest 20 inch wheels than here in black. This is also the AMG line. However, these high gloss black wheel arches, this is a separate option. AMG line standard would be the wheel arches in vehicle color. So that always depends then on the equipment. The petrol version is either front wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The electric version is either rear wheel drive or all-wheel drive. This is like a technology difference. They have a completely new rear, so this is not taken over from one of the other models. So this is a very distinctive rear here for the all-new GLA. There we go, putting this one twice. The rear track is, by the way, now wider also in this generation. And then here, this is then the mild hybrid petrol engine. It's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with some mild hybridization, so to speak. So you have some electric moments. Also, like when you're rolling slowly, you can drive it sometimes electric when you're parking in and out and so on. Also tries to bring down the consumption. We have a CLA petrol driving review already out there if you're interested in that. 3 different horsepower outputs, and the bigger ones also come in combination with all-wheel drive. Other than that, the standard is front-wheel drive. And you can see that besides this powertrain, it is very similar between the combustion engine type and also the all-electric body version. There's a little bit more technology coming, of course, with the all-electric version, because we have several battery sizes and so on. And this is where we're going right now. This is here Patagonia Red, this beautiful color. Here, by the way, you cannot press the logo to open the frunk. This is only for the GLC electric or the C-Class electric. The GLA and the CLA and the GLB, they do not get this technology. Here you have to press twice or pull twice again, and then you can check out the frunk, which is super large. So it can not only house charging cables, it could even house luggage. So this is very cool that it's a super large frunk area. No dampening here though. And then you might ask yourself why. A lot of manufacturers do dampen the frunk from underneath. That still reduces rolling noise and so on. Very cool also when the indicators are activated here in the star design. And here you can see more of this outline, which is always also with the petrol version from the first trim level, not the base version though. And then here you have also this one and here closed, but also illuminated in this style that was introduced also with the GLC electric. So this retro Mercedes design, at the same time also the star is illuminated. And I think both versions, the petrol and the all-electric one, look actually quite cool. Or what do you think? Tell me in the comments. And then again, this same side silhouette. Here again, the option of the black contrasting wheel arches, black 20-inch wheels in a different styling in this case. And this is also the AMG Line Plus. And one difference is that you, for example, get this additional black spoiler here in the rear part. But It's also not really necessary. Since we're in the shade here now, maybe you can even better see the signature and also then the indicators right there in the rear. And the technology difference is, as I said, that this one here starts rear-wheel drive and optional all-wheel drive. You also have the data and facts, not only as an insert, but also always in a separate data comment. And you have 3 different battery sizes. You would start with 58 kilowatt hour LFP battery as an entry level. Then there's a new middle level entry battery, so to speak, for the NMC type is 71 kilowatt hours, and the largest one is 85 kilowatt hours. And this is of course then the best for the range. With the large battery you can score up to close to 600 kilometers, 370 miles of real-world range at probably like 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour on the motorway. If we orient the consumption to the CLA a little bit and make it a little bit worse, because that's the SUV body type. The whole system is very efficient. We know that, for example, from the CLA. Then we have charging up to 320 kilowatts. For the DC charging, AC charging is 11 or optional 22 kilowatt. And you have to buy the 400 volt compatibility extra. You have to check this one. And also the 22 kilowatt is extra. You can see here this charging flap is, there we go, is manual. It hops open, but it's not really electric. And 10 to 80% state of charge goes in 22 minutes. And I really gotta say, now that I spend a little bit more time with the vehicle, I really like the design in the front, especially if you compare it to the platform brothers, the GLB and also the CLA, because they have, to me, this two-phase design, because they have the light strip on top here and then the grille below that. And here you have, like in a classic car design, grille, lights, and that's it. And to me, this is calmer to the eye. Or what do you think? Tell me in the comments. And inside here we have 2 more choices. First of all, this is once again an AMG line, but with this matte Magno paint. This is a special night edition. And then we have here, also interesting, not to have an AMG line. This is the progressive line. So when you don't pick AMG line, it looks like this. This is also the petrol version in Patagonia Red. Here, once again, the grille goes through. This one here, however, then again, equipped with a night package that gets dark elements. For example, also again, the frames here in the dark outline. The mirror caps are always in black, even if you don't pick a night package, because all have these black mirror caps. Then here these wheels, once again 20-inch, so all the vehicles here have 20-inch today. And then to the rear, once again, you can see that there's a difference in the AMG line versus the progressive. Here the not AMG and progressive has a different styling here in the lower part that looks a little bit less sporty. This is the key fob, it's really nice. And in this case we have the flush door handles, so they come in and out. Here, when I close the vehicle, open the vehicle, and then they have a manual feedback, which is actually quite good. I would still prefer the normal handles here, and they are available, like with many other Mercedes models. And at this moment the logic is classic door handles and no keyless go. Then you always have to press open and close, no matter if you use the key fob or if you use the smartphone. The combination of keyless go, that you can keep the key in your pocket, is only possible in here with these flush door handles at this moment. Mercedes says they want to also later introduce then the classic door handles with the keyless go in a combination. I'm hoping for that. For a flush door handle, they are quite good and also feel nice when you open them like this, then gotta say that though. And here, it's a nice door closing sound. Rear as well. Then inside of the doors, you have either this bright scheme here, but there's also a completely dark scheme. I can soon show that to you. Soft touch here in the top part as well. So it's a really nice build quality. Sadly, only 2 window levers. Not everyone favors that. Pressing here then for the rear windows. Yeah, I don't favor that much, but some say they don't mistake the rear and front window. Here, hardback at the inside of the doors. At least they have some rubber inside there. Here, you can get the acoustic windows, lamination in the front, and this will of course help to bring down the noise level, and especially on the motorway. Then we have either base or this AMG line steering wheel. This has 2 spokes and return of the rocker and roller, real physical dials here on the steering wheel. Below that, this is still hashtag capacitive BS, and it's hard to switch through the menu, but really appreciate that they have belt with the manual volume control, and here for the cruise control. The steering wheel is also available in an animal-free scheme. In this case not, but you could not see the difference in touch or feel or and so on. The leatherette is even a little bit softer, maybe a little bit. And then here the seats, either you get a comfort seat with separated head restraint or this sport seat. Then you have the head restraint a little bit more integrated. You can put it a little bit forward here, for example. Microfiber then on the inside, a little bit leatherette on the outside. And you will also get full Artico leatherette seats, for example, and also base fabric seats. And they are actually probably among my favorites here because the microfiber has a nice premium touch, and the seating area and the sit bone area does not differ so much between the different styles. It's more how the back of the seat is designed actually. And then here, steering up and down, in and out is a manual approach. And because this is here the SUV in comparison to CLA, you sit more upright. The GLB is of course the bigger brother. There you have even more grown-up SUV feeling. But this of course always helps, especially if you have long legs, that you sit more upright. And I've already taken out my ruler and measured like the depth from the sill to the floor. It will make a huge difference, petrol versus EV, in the rear. So I'm going to show that to you. But here in the front, there's actually not major difference or something. So how you sit in the front will not make a difference if you have the petrol or the EV. That's also very important to know. And now welcome to the cockpit of the all-new GLA. This one here being also the electric version. I said this is not the main difference. Here different styling, that we have everything in black. So the inside of the doors also here with the black microfiber, the seats as well, so without the white contrast. And then as for the screen logic, it looks like this. You have digital instruments, you have the main infotainment system. Then you would either have a decor element here on the right side or optional this passenger screen. And that makes it so-called the super screen. A hyper screen would be available in the GLC electric, in the EQS, in the C-Class electric, where the screen goes all the way through. Because here you still have these bezels in the middle and also bezels on top. So customer feedback was that they would like to see less high gloss black and so on. Well, at least here the middle console, you can get different decor elements for that one, and you don't have to go then for high gloss black here. Cup holders are the old school style that, yeah, they're not holding the bottles tight enough. I feel they fly around a little bit too much. Split armrest right here. Yeah, like a splitter in there, and then you have some space then here underneath. In the front you have an inductive charging pad, which is also cooled, and you also have a small hole where you can actually put a cable through, because underneath there are two USB-C chargers where you can, get some power. In the top part you have like this black element. It's like here, it's one button for the whole horizontal line. Don't like it that much, but at least you can click here for the driving modes. And then you can select the driving modes while driving a little bit easier than just selecting it on the screen. The climate unit, I feel, is a little bit small in recent Mercedes models, and then you have extensive more climate menus than here with the two-step to activate the seat heating, for example. Then the main icons here, they are actually quite cool, and optional Burmester sound system, 3D surround, and this is such a great quality, especially if you go here for intense, for electronic music. This is also in the new CLA, is the best sound system on the market in cars, I feel, at this moment. So if you have this car and got money for the little bit extra here, this is one of the cool extras. It's also nice visualization here. You see there's more power than in the back end than with, in comparison to the older generation. And the GPS here. This looks like Mercedes interface, but the back end is now powered by Google Maps. Also says here Google Maps. It's not only this view here, but it's really that they have Google Maps also from the traffic logic and so on. Then the digital instruments here that you can see a little bit better. As I said earlier, you have to scroll them through with the capacitive things, but it's actually easy to do still. Sometimes you miss left and right and front and up and so on. You have different views also available, and also of course this map view, and you also have this box here for the head-up display. And I really appreciate here the support for Google Maps mirroring in the digital instruments. Mercedes has recently introduced that also, and yeah, Waze and Apple Maps also possible in this CarPlay combination. Here in the screen, by the way, you have control over the panoramic roof. You can select individual elements. This is an option that you have this digital shade, so to speak. It does not change how much heat comes in the cabin. That is always inbuilt in the roof. And it's actually a very good heat protection. Mercedes has a good technology, a good supplier for that one. This is here then more against glare or not. And a different interior styling here, the progressive interior. First of all, if you don't have the AMG line, not the two spokes, here the single spoke steering wheel. Looks a little bit different, but you still get the same physical dials here, at least in the top part. Then you have a different decon element here in the middle part that you can pick freely. This is really nice, like this in the matte atmosphere. That's pretty cool. And this is the normal comfort seat here, the head restraint separated, and you can move it a little bit like this. And this is the Artico seat, so the high-grade leatherette feels nice, definitely. Which seat you pick, it more depends on the surface actually. I really like the base fabric seat, and the microfiber seat probably like these best. There's no seat cooling available anyways. This one easier to wipe clean, of course, if you have kids and so on. But it's more about in the back area here, like the surface on the foam and so on is actually the same. Rear seats here, nice, everything soft covered here in the top part. Hardback is only here, no, and in the inside this is also soft and either in bright or dark scheme. And then we have here also the microfiber seats in here in this AMG line in this case. Also, and again, white contrast or not, depending if you like. Folding down, this is not adaptive here though. You have no inclination change, that's it. And this one here, starting with the combustion engine version, because there is a massive difference. First of all, legroom, that's not a real difference. Here, this is what I have legroom left. And this, of course, better in comparison to the CLA, because you sit more upright here. It's also more comfortable because you sit more upright. And then here, the petrol has foot garages. They go deeper in here. And I took my measurements earlier here with the ruler, of course. That's Autogefühl. And then, like, this is the difference. You have, like, more depth here in the petrol MHEV version, and that's why you see here my feet are standing lower, making it more comfortable in the combustion engine version. This is here headroom 189 6 for 2, so that's actually fine. Yeah, it's a good usage of space here, definitely. So the GLA has actually a quite good package overall, I feel. Or what do you think? So here now in the EV version in the rear, and here different styling. Doesn't correlate with EV or petrol that you have the black styling now. You can freely pick that, but just that you can see how it looks like when it's more darkened out. But here in the EV version, I mean, almost everything is the same. But here you have no middle tunnel. That's on the one hand a good thing. 2 USB-C chargers, by the way. So no middle tunnel here. That's of course good, like when someone sits maybe in the middle. However, you see here my feet are a little bit higher, like this, higher in the car. And that's why, you know, I was sitting like this in the other one. Now it's like this, so it's still okay. You know, you just have to know that your feet go deeper in there. Yeah, I think you can live with both versions. It's a little bit pro and con because no middle tunnel is also nice. Yeah, but from the seating comfort itself, I would still prefer the petrol version, but it's not the main reason not to go for the EV. Now the trunk or the boot, it doesn't matter so much there in this case if it's electric or the combustion engine version, 415 or 410 liters. So the combustion engine a little bit more in liter, but it's not the real difference. Here, this one, by the way, it fits like this, but if you put it like this one wouldn't close anymore because of this very hard top shelf. Then again, maybe it's better for noise insulation. However, what's good to know is that you can put this one here in a lower position. Then it's actually no problem, and you can gain a little bit more in height overall, so like this. And yeah, but then again, it's not a big difference between EV and petrol. Here we have about a meter or 40 inches in width, and here there's a length of 83 centimeters, 33 inches. In the top part here, they can better see that, and also put that out. Doesn't sound so good, but it's fine. So there we go. And then we have the height here of 29 inches, 74 centimeters. There's no remote unlock, but it's not too hard to reach over here. And then to the seat as we would be driving, we have here a total length of 1 meter 64 or 64 inches. And once again, then for loading through, that's of course then more helpful if you put this one in the upper stage here again, and you have this small step. Pricing starts with the petrol version that is always like about 3,000 euros cheaper, and then at 49,000 euros start for the all-electric version with the smallest battery. If you go for the biggest battery, at some 10,000 euros. And if you then think full spec and so on, all-wheel drive and the 4.5 acceleration figure of the all-wheel drive electric version, which is the quickest one, then you can easily break 75,000 euros. So not cheap at all, definitely. The CLA, a couple of thousand euros cheaper, maybe 2,000 euros or something like that. And the GLB, a little bit more expensive. The crucial thing about the new GLA is that it works exterior interior from proportions wise and so on, and has a better usage of space because it's a bit more upright in comparison to the CLA. Yet at the same time, you now have a vehicle that is a good replacement for the so far GLA in the petrol segment, and especially the electric version is now one. Before you had to switch between or choose between, oh, I get a super large electric vehicle with a high range, or I get a small electric vehicle as a secondary car with not real significant Autobahn range. And here now you can also get an electric version, which is not like an electric SUV, which is not too long, still fits parking lots and so on, but at the same time always is super efficient and gets you a significant range also on the motorway. What do you think? Tell me your comments about the all-new CLA, all-new GLA generation. Yeah, I think it's getting so confusing with all the models. The all-new GLA generation. Leave me your comments. And now check out this CLA recent Autobahn road trip review and of course the GLB.